on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Racing through the fields on a rusty old John Deere. Santa's making deals, soon he will be here. Christmas bells will ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to sing 50 nights of lights. Oh, jingle bells on a Delta night. Oh, what fun it is to see the 50 nights of lights. Jingle bells on a Delta night. Oh, what fun it is to see the 50 nights of lights.
And there you go. How about that for some bumper music? Live bumper music. That's what that is from Tricia Walker, retired director of Delta Music Institute at Delta State University and Cleveland's music ambassador, also the founder of Deep Roots Music. That's perfect, Deep Roots Music for here in the Delta. So thanks for coming on, and thanks for the musical intro there, Tricia. Appreciate that.
Absolutely, anytime.
It is the 50 Nights of Lights, as you said, and that's why we are here atop downtown Cleveland for that celebration. So we just had Kamel King, Bureau Manager of Visit Mississippi, said it's like trillions of lights.
Trillions, at least trillions, if not more. I'm saying gazillions. Gazillions.
Gazillions.
Yeah.
All right, so I was sent by a little birdie a tape of you performing, I believe, last night. Is that right?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Where were you?
We were across the street at Backdraft Restaurant right here in downtown Cleveland with my friend Danny Abraham as part of our Deep Roots music series. We were just having a good time. Had a great audience.
Were you playing Christmas music? Or?
We did a little Christmas music. We did some old favorites. We did some originals, a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Well, this is a music town, is it not?
It is a music town.
It's like ground zero for music in Mississippi.
It is, and we're trying to make it even more so. You can't have a music town with musicians, and we've got some great musicians right here in the Delta, particularly in Cleveland.
All right, so your bio, retired director of Delta Music Institute. Exactly what is the Delta Music Institute?
Oh, man.
The Delta State.
Well, the Delta Music Institute is an entertainment industry program for young people who want to try to figure out how to get in the music business, whether as a performer or an engineer, audio person, or business person. There's so much talent in Mississippi, and we were losing a lot of it to some other institutions outside of Mississippi, and Delta State had the foresight and the vision to build a program like that right here on our campus, and it's been great. I had the great privilege to develop that program over a 13-year period, and then it was time for me to pass the torch.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. So you've continued on, obviously. You were performing last night. Is that something you do on a regular basis?
Somewhat. I don't perform as much as I used to. My career before coming back to Delta State was as a full-time music industry professional, so I performed a lot more in my previous life, but now I get to go back to that life now as a creative, and I'm enjoying it very much.
Okay. So do you travel around performing any, or pretty much in the area?
A few things out of town, but I'm happy just to kind of be here. I had the chance to travel so much, earlier in life, and so I'm happy to kind of contain my performing right around here in Mississippi and in the local area and help other young people do the same.
Yeah. And Delta State has a really strong entertainments program as well. Why do you think that music is so integrated within the university?
Well, it's like I say, it's important, and I know you had Emily Havens on earlier. Now that we have the Grammy Museum here, Dockery Farms is just down the road. I mean, this is really ground zero for American music. And again, Delta State had the foresight to build a program where young people not only wanted to understand how to perform better and write songs better, but the business side of music. It's one thing to do it as a hobby. It's another thing to do it as a living. So that was really important here.
Yeah. And so you also have the title of Cleveland's Music Ambassador. Now tell us exactly what that means.
Well, that was bestowed on me by the Honorable Billy Nowell, Mayor of Cleveland, and I think I'm just a cheerleader. I'm just a cheerleader because, like I said earlier, there's so much talent in the Delta. Always has been.
Yeah.
And historically, the great Delta musicians have gone on to become great performers. Everybody from Sam Cooke to Johnny Russell, the great songwriter from Moorhead, B.B. King, obviously. But, I wanted to come back here and try to help promote young musicians, or what I call weekend warriors, those who just kind of do it as a secondary career, to offer them some professional services and opportunities to play. We've got some great venue partners here in town that allow us to come in 5 nights a week and do music and entertain people and have the community really learn to value musicians more deeply. That's what makes Nashville such a great town. They realize the great resource they have in their musicians.
Who were some of the artists that inspired you from your musical style perspective?
Well, even though I spent my career in Nashville, I did not grow up listening to country.
Okay.
Although when I got there, I learned a lot about it. But early on, I was influenced greatly by, Aretha Franklin, particularly, Barbra Streisand, the great singers. But then, around the time of high school and college, it became the songwriters: James Taylor,
okay.
Carole King, Jim Croce, all those folks who knew how to really write a song.
Yeah. And it seems like, and maybe it's just anecdotal to me, that maybe we're not producing as many of those as we used to. What do you think?
Well, they're out there. They're harder to find just because of the nature of how the business has changed.
Okay.
Back in the day, before the digital revolution, there were gatekeepers, and record label presidents got to decide who you heard and who you didn't hear.
Yeah.
There's so much talent out there. You just have to look for it. And there's, you can go on Spotify, Apple Music, any of the streaming platforms and just discover great music all day long.
Yeah, and I think that has also contributed to the development of just new whole genres of music.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the great joys I would always see at Delta State were students who were from very different genres of music sort of collide with each other and come up with things that were really fresh and new. So absolutely.
And so you're also a member of the Cleveland Tourism Commission Board of Directors. So how much does music figure into your efforts there, the Board of Directors of the Tourism Commission?
A great amount, because, again, we want to be able to market Cleveland and say we're a music town. If you come to town, we can promise you'll be able to hear music 5 nights a week. And what we've tried to do here with the music that we're promoting is it falls under that broad umbrella of roots music, which could be blues, it could be country, it could be gospel. There's a large umbrella considered Americana music, and so our Deep Roots roster, we have a roster of artists, they all represent those different genres. And so we can, through tourism, we can promote and say, come here, listen to music. If you're a professional, you can go in the Delta State studios and record. We've got everything there that they've got in Nashville or L.A. No reason to go running off. You can do it right here.
Yeah. My colleague, Steve Azar, a very accomplished musical artist, of course, says that the Delta serves as a very strong inspiration in his work, and just has termed it, I think, it's just the perfect setting for the creation of music. What do you think about that?
I agree wholeheartedly. There's either, like Steve says, there's either something in the water or something in the dirt. And, I think a lot of it, too, is because Mississippi is still, rural and agricultural, and lots of small towns where people know each other and they hear each other and they learn each other's music. It's not so categorized, and so there's a lot of influences from a lot of different directions.
And that water and that dirt has seen lots of stories through the years.
It absolutely has. Maybe it's because there was nothing else to do back before the digital age. You just had to sit around and make stuff up.
Yeah, and much of that is captured in the music.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our music and our writers both.
What about the others in the area, Tricia, that are musical artists that stay around the Cleveland area? Does that kind of add to the variety?
Oh, absolutely. And as more and more artists find out about Deep Roots, we want to try to, bring them into the bigger family, if you will. And again, try to find ways to support the musicians, because you can't have a music town unless you've got musicians, and you got to take care of your musicians. And sometimes that's a hot meal after a small gig. I mean, that means the world to a musician,
But they do it because they love it.
They do
It's in their blood.
Oh yeah. Don't tell anybody, even though we're on the radio. Don't tell anybody that we'd really do this for free, but we do want to get paid for it every once in a while.
Yeah, I bet that's true. Any up and coming musicians in the area you want to talk about?
Oh gosh. There's too many to name. But
Okay.
I'll plug our website, and your audience can go on and check it out. It's deltadeeproots.com, and it's got a listing of our core roster, which again has gospel and some country, some blues, all that sort of stuff. So
right.
yeah, deltadeeproots.com.
Sounds good. Bump us out here.
I will. Have yourself a Delta little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a Delta little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us,